My name is Alex, and I'm a 21-year-old trader attempting to master the stock market to potentially one day join the very few who make a living out of this. So these are my three current positions as of today. We have Adobe, ExxonMobil, and BABA. BA is the trade that I took yesterday on yesterday's video, and unfortunately today it didn't go as planned, but that still doesn't mean that it's not valid. So I'm going to go over that right now and see how you guys could potentially minimize your risk after it's already gone against you, or maybe lock in some profit if it's gone in your favor and you just want to secure some profit in the worst scenario that it goes against you after it goes in your favor. So let's go over that real quick for you guys. So that might have been a little confusing for some of you guys, but let me just explain to you guys a little bit. What you're looking at right now is the BABA Alibaba chart, or stock if you like, and every candle represents 1 day worth of time. So essentially what I'm doing here is trading the breakout. So you see, you have these trend lines, which are just essentially points of higher highs. So you got 1 point here, the second point here, the third one here, and then the fourth one. And then finally, we got a gap on this day, which was yesterday. And it was a gap that closed above this trend line here. So that was my confirmation. That was my data entry. That was my execution right there. Now, granted, this isn't the best trend line. As you can see, this candle right here didn't necessarily touch the trend line. So it was a little bit sloppy, not going to lie about that. Let's look a little bit closer and see what I was trying to explain in the beginning of the video. So this red line here that you see here was my planned stop loss, or my trailing stop. It works as both. My hard stop was essentially going to be under this breakout candle here. So now every candle represents 4 hours worth of time since we switched over to the 4-hour time frame. So my hard stop loss, the day that I entered, was going to be right under this candle. So any candle that closed under that green candle was going to be, I was just going to exit the trade. That simple. But today we did pull back. We actually gapped down a little bit on this first 4-hour candle. But then later on in the day, the buyers stepped in and they drove the price up a little bit higher. So we're not too in a big of a hole right now, only down $100, which is not too bad. But here's the game. Here's the trick here. As price progresses, hopefully it either goes sideways or slightly upward. If you're lucky enough, you could draw another trend line like this, for example. So at this point, my stop loss is not going to be under the this green candle, but it's going to be under this red line here. So initially, my stop loss was something like this, my trailing stop loss, that is. So if the price would have gone sideways right here, like sloppiness, then I would have had to get out as soon as it crossed over this red line here. But now that price has progressed a little bit, we could move up this stop loss just slightly like this. So in this case, our stop loss is pretty tight right now. I'm not going to lie. It's probably now going to be under this previous red candle. So that to me is doing two things. One of them is securing that it's just minimizing my risk overall. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, so right now I'm just looking for the price to hopefully hold above this level here, maybe make a new high and just continue. And as price progresses, maybe we could find another point to anchor this trend line here and lock in some more gains. Really just trailing your stop loss. That's essentially what that is. So that's Alibaba for you guys. Overall, a decent trade, not the best trade for the reasons I explained, but it was still a relatively good trade. So now let's look at Adobe, a really good trade that I took here. I believe I took this trade last week. I didn't show you guys because I wasn't uploading videos, but now that we're locked in, well, we can show you guys. And granted, I don't know why this glitch here happens right here. I don't know why there's price action here. If we switch over to the daily chart, you don't really see that choppiness, so that glitch right there. I don't know what that is, but overall, this was another clean setup. So we got one touch point, two touch points, and then a third one right here. And then finally the break with an aggressive red candle. So this is much better than the BABA trade, simply because all the points are pretty damn, like, they're pretty nice. They're pretty decent. They're lined up properly, so they're not overlapping like on BABA is what I'm trying to say. And the same thing applies to this one. We're trailing it with another trend line here, so much tighter one, much nicer one here as well. So again, if the price closes above this red line here, red trend line, we're going to close the trade. And at this point, we're up like $400 on Adobe. Sorry, not 400, like $200, 230, as you can see there. So worst scenario in this case, so in BABA, worst scenario, I'm going to be losing around $150. But for Adobe, at this point, we're going to be locking in some gains if it's the case that the candle closes above this red trend line here, unless a really aggressive green candle appears. But that's just not the the market isn't that volatile right now to be producing those type of candles as of right now, at least. Obviously it could change anytime, but as of right now, what I've been seeing, the market isn't capable of doing those big moves right now. So we actually did make a new low today, which was pretty good. Hopefully tomorrow we do continue that momentum to the downside. And we also have the overall trend of Airbnb, no, sorry, not Airbnb, Adobe here coming down. So the general direction is in our favor also. So really good trade here, 10 out of 10, definitely probably going to be the biggest gainer of the week here. We're still down for the week, I should say that. But ExxonMobil here, also a very nice trade here going forward. One point here, 2, 3, and then a fourth one here, and then finally the break of another aggressive red candle. That's really what you want to see, an aggressive candle breaking that trend line, and then you jump in. That's the perfect entry right there. And like usual, we're trailing this with another red trend line here, counter trend line. And like I said in the last example, anything that closes above this trend line is going to be my exit. So this one is going to be probably at best, or at worst, probably going to be making like $50 or so at worst. So at best, obviously, the price just continues to move downward. So that's essentially it. Like I said, right now, for the week, we're probably down like 360, I think I mentioned yesterday. I'm not really entirely sure. So, and these profits that you see on the screen now, so 230, 231, 103, and 86, they're just unrealized gains. So until I sell my positions, until I exit my positions, it's going to be realized. So this doesn't really count right now. Tomorrow, these numbers could change very easily and very quickly. So we're not going to get to see if I am profitable at the end of the week or not. But I also mentioned in the previous video, I shouldn't expect to be profitable in terms of 1 week. 1 week, I only get in 5 to 10 trades. Not a big number. You really want to start paying attention to the 50 trades, 100 trades to really see if you have an edge or not. So I'm going to call it good for that for today. No trades. I was really kicking back, just watching the markets roll, watching my money make more money. In some cases losing money, but that's fine. Hopefully at the end of the month, we end up making money for you guys. So make sure to leave a like, comment, you guys, and stay focused.